Welcome to Shorewood, Wisconsin, a neighborhood of 13,000 just north of Milwaukee. I'm standing in front of the LightHorse apartment building, situated off of Capitol Drive, running west to Madison, and Oakland Avenue, the main drag of Shorewood. Residents live in apartment buildings above the various storefronts that line the commercial district of Shorewood. Across the street is the Metro Market Grocery and the public transit. And below is the Walgreens Pharmacy. All of one's shopping can be done on foot, which promotes spontaneous social interaction among neighbors in the street. According to Jane Jacobs, this adds to the vitality of a community. On this relatively short block, one can find a variety of architectural inspiration. From the early 20th century Art Deco nail salon to the more modern international style of the North Shore Bank. Built during the Great Depression, the Shorewood Public High School is a product of the Federal Works Progress Administration. These columns are a classical symbol of knowledge and wisdom. And architecture historian Bill Voigt says in the absence of corners, the dome opens the intellect to new ideas and perspectives. It is not uncommon for kids to toss a frisbee around on the front lawn, or to generally be at leisure in this communal space. The post office across the street is also a result of FDR's New Deal legislation. This was built around the same time Louis Sullivan was building his jewel box banks across the Midwest. The facade of the LightHorse is what initially grabs people's attention. When the morning sun rises over Lake Michigan, a metallic tint of blue and green is reflected, mimicking the much-adored water. The positioning of the building in relation to Lake Michigan, which is just a quarter of a mile east, was intentional for this reason. This ornamentation would go against the belief of many early modernists, such as Adolf Loos and the Vienna Secessionists, who saw a facade as just a superficial way of making a building look nicer than it actually is. The New Brutalists held a similar belief, by valuing materials for their inherent qualities. This makes the LightHorse quite different from, say, the Smithson council houses outside of London, which were composed solely of exposed concrete.
Just stop doing the dumb facade shots. I need to do homework.
Upon further examination, the facade is composed of a cheap aluminum. William Morris of the arts and crafts movement would not be very impressed, due to the mechanical reproduction of a material that lacks any artistic signature. A communal green space is created on the second floor by cutting a segment out of the main structure. Although the company loses possible revenue from decreasing the amount of apartments, this is necessary from avoiding the appearance of a big, obnoxious box. The rooftop garden is a very efficient use of space, according to Le Corbusier's 5 points of architecture. Le Corbusier included this design aspect in many of his early modernist houses, including the Villa Savoie. Upon entry, the lobby is quite cramped. The tall glass windows attempt to create a lightweight feeling, like the International Bank across the street does. But the lack of the free ground floor plan, which is taken by the Walgreens next door, makes this impossible. However, the space above is more utilized. The wooden interior is a bit of a surprise, but it actually coincides with the brick that lies beneath the facade. Contrary to the aluminum, these materials are more characteristic to the vernacular of Wisconsin architecture, like that of a log cabin. Alright, zoom out. A no-smoking environment attracts a certain class of people. We're here. Alright, let's check out the apartments. Here on the 6th floor, we have a similar sized lobby. Except this time the space feels more lightweight and open, without the clutter of wood. The additional windows evenly distribute flat light against the smoothly painted concrete walls, which are completely different from the brick and aluminum exterior. The geometric planes and lack of ornamentation are more in line with the early modernist vision of Mies van der Rohe. A long, dark walk down this narrow corridor is not the most pleasant experience. I'm unable to identify a neighbor's face until they're directly in front of me, which makes for very awkward social interaction. I'm unsure if this low visibility is intentional, but it does protect the anonymity of residents, many of whom are isolated working people. Again, we have the blue-green aluminum motif, which almost looks like fish scales swimming in the water, but the hallway is too dark to notice this feature. From the Russian constructivists to the Smithsons, the hallway has long been engineered to induce social condensing and positive behavior, but this rarely works in practice. As we enter, we see the washroom. The whole apartment comes fitted with uniform appliances. Like the Ames case study homes designed in post-war America, this apartment fits the living needs of efficient, upper-class working people with productive schedules. This idea originally came from Le Corbusier, who saw the house as a machine for living in, and to be constructed so in a reproducible fashion. This is a 2-bedroom apartment, with 1 bathroom right here. The main room is very efficient due to its open floor plan, functioning as a kitchen, diner, and living area. Again, the modern design is extremely calming in the afternoon after a hard day's work. Out here, the balcony faces west, where one is protected from the harsh morning sun and able to appreciate the beautiful evening sunsets. Look at those ribbon windows. You can see the post office, high school, and even catch a glimpse of the magnificent Milwaukee skyline. I'd like to thank Professor Meredith Gallio and her Modern Architecture Survey course at Swarthmore College.